Bow your heads, please. Precious Lord, Creator and Preserver of all mankind, we thank Thee this evening for Thy loving kindness and for Thy tender mercies. We thank Thee, O God, because Thou hast been merciful in all of Thy ways to all of Your people. Where we have been weak, Thou hast strengthened us. And when we have fallen by the wayside, O God, You lifted us up with Your love by way and through amazing grace. We say thank You, Lord.
Thank You.
And now, Lord, another day is about to pass into eternity. And how happy we are to spend a few more moments between these city walls. I ask You this evening, O God, if it be not against Your will, let Your Spirit stop by here and touch every heart, that we all may leave here more refreshed, inspired, and with a deeper and more abiding faith in the God of this universe. We love You, Lord, and we thank You for another day's journey. In Jesus' precious name, oh God, I do pray. Amen. 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 And thank God.
Thank you so much.
Bless you.
Please rise with me for the pledge. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Council need a motion on the work session minutes for the June 7th meeting.
Mr. President, move for approval.
Have a motion to approve. All in favor, raise your hand.
Going to be 6 with 1 absent and 7 abstaining.
Ed, you? Okay. Need a motion on the regular council meeting minutes for the June 7th.
Mr. President, move to adopt.
Have a motion to adopt. All in favor, raise your hand.
6 with 1 abstaining and 1 absent.
Okay. Mr. Mayor, you got a full agenda here this afternoon.
How's everybody doing?
Good, good.
Good.
We got some good things to share. We got some champions in the building.
That's
apparently.
right.
And we certainly want to honor them. Councilor Ed Grimes has been making sure we stayed on top of all the success that Trinity has had. And between baseball, girls soccer, and volleyball, there's been a lot of winning going on over there. And so we want to start with by recognizing the Trinity Girls Soccer State Championship, the state champions who won the state championship. We want to ask for Coach Coker, Coach Vosel, if I'm saying that right, and Coach Cleveland. Are they all here? Oh, come on up. Y'all want to come right there? And then we're going to call out all of the names for the players. We got Ansley Claire Addison, Martha Avant, Sarah Avant, Julian Bishop, Emma Gamble, Mallory Gullich, Ella Hale, Hannah Elizabeth Hurt, Ann Rollins Howe, Elise Huffam, Ella Grace Lowe, Sarah Bell McClinton, Mary Colin McDuffie, Kaylee Peavy, Emmy Portis, Mary Alice Sasser, Ella Hammond Shanahan, Cameron Stanley, AP Stewart, or App Stewart. Is that AP? All right. AP Stewart, Catherine Warren, and Ella Wiswall. All right. These are the Trinity Girls Soccer State Champs. Let's give them a round of applause.
back or come down?
We'll direct them here. I ask y'all to come on back right here in front of the council. We'll grab a quick picture.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Great team. All right, looking good.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Don't get too comfortable. We got some more winners to call up. So now we're going to call up the Trinity Volleyball State Champs, coached by Sarah Dubberly and coached by Ali Vosel. As the coaches, please come up. Elise, I'm sorry. Okay, Alice, I apologize. All right, and we'll call up the members of this team: Gray Brindle, Addison Cherry, Charlie Cohn, Jordan Gallagher, Isabel Hill, Ella Grace Lowe, Sarah Grace Merrill, Emerson Moody, Maya Moskowitz, Reese Patterson, Mary Alice Sasser, Christine Elliott Shelton, Emma Kate Smith, Elizabeth Ann Stewart. All right. You want to please give them a round of applause at this time.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
More and more winners, and this is the third state championship team that Trinity produced, and this is the baseball team. And for those who were watching Auburn yesterday, maybe we have some of these who will be playing for them, whether it's next season or seasons to come in the College Baseball World Series. But we certainly want to congratulate and call up Coach Cook, assistant coaches Brad Parker, John Schamberger, Ryan Lombardi, and Josh Forbes. And with that, we'll call out the team members: Brady Rascal, Simmons Bird, David Michael Liu, Weber McClinton, Jordan Jenkins, Fleming Hall, Grayson Ash, Wilson Albrecht, Wesley Stallings, Mac McClinton, Will Weeks, Copeland Service, Gavin Hunter, Walker McClinton, Ben Easterling, Brady Bennett, Coleman Stanley, Ross Sanders, and Christopher Bryant. These are members of the Trinity baseball champions. Let's give them a round of applause as well.
Did Brian get up with you? Brian Forster called you? He's got our schedule. You
Man, how did you fare against Trinity? Did you beat me?
No, no character. All right, Kevin.
Go on down here with your alma mater. Go on down there with your boys.
My boys stuck it up for this year. They still scoring runs.
Thank you. Congratulations.
Hey, Gary. Hey, Gary. Look, y'all look through your voicemail. It's Brown is supposed to call. Because I want to get one if you get
Okay.
Continue to be Glenn now.
All right, and we want to congratulate Trinity again on bringing home some real hardware. 3 sports is a lot, so that is a great testament to the student athletes, the coaches, parents, everybody involved. That is really, really great. Glad to see that, and we look forward to honoring even more of our student athletes here in Montgomery, whether it be our public schools or independent schools as well. So congratulations to them. Very quickly, the 2022 National Night Out mini grant winners have done great work, and we want to recognize them. We want to turn to the neighborhoods and all the work that they have done to really keep us on the forefront of what's happening in the community. And as counselors, you all hear this quite often from them, some of the things that are right and some of the things that aren't as well as we'd like to see. But this month, we got 15 Montgomery neighborhoods received $100,000 in grant funding as part of the National Night Out, as part of the National Night Out Mini Grant Awards. These grants are one of the 2 types of grant programs promoted by the city's Neighborhood Services Department. And with that, I'd like for Cynthia McAllister from our Neighborhood Services to join me at the podium as we present the checks to these neighborhood leaders. You see some of them up there, but we'll call them out as well for those who may not be able to read that font. Okay. Cynthia, you go out. Okay, that'll work.
Yep, and we'll go in order. And council, when each representative comes forward, will you just stand up to take a picture with the mayor and the representative? Avalon Park Homeowners Association.
He's everywhere.
Hang on, let's get everybody in.
There you go. Perfect. Yes, sir.
Hey, man.
Yeah.
How come you called me the other day and asked for money? Stop. You got the checks, okay. You didn't even let nobody know you won, huh?
Yeah, make sure you put that check.
Bellwood Homeowners Association. Also known as Bellwood East. Brookview Estates Neighborhood Association. We'll put that one in the mail. Either way. Capitol Heights Civic Association. Yeah. Carriage Hills Neighborhood Association.
Way to go, Clarence Davenport. All right.
Kind of getting recognition you deserve.
Charlestown Community Association. County Downs Homeowners Association. Dovefield Farms Landowners Association. We'll move on to Eastwood Villa Homeowners Association. Right here. Elmsby Community Neighborhood Association. Greater McGee Estates Neighborhood Association. Green Acres Association. And then we have Jones Road Association. Oh, Seth Johnson Neighborhood Association.
There you go.
Keep writing on Brant.
Cynthia, do we have Regency Communities Association or no? Gotcha. We'll get them next time.
All right. Very good.
Okay.
Thank you, everybody. Get it back in place. All right.
We want to thank all our neighborhood leaders for the work that they do every day to help make the city what it is. Not all of them are recognized through grant awards. Some of them are doing great work, and we'll make sure that even those who weren't able to make it tonight receive their check for their neighborhood association. And as we work towards this, hopefully we'll see the incorporation of more neighborhood associations moving forward to build that teamwork and to try to build the collaboration that we need to really help us on all fronts as we try to grow this city and make it a better community for everyone. With that said, I'll conclude with the executive summary of the financial update. And I'll try to go through these pretty quick, although the news is very good. Sales and use tax revenues on this slide will show a positive trend. Collections for the month of May are up more than 5% over the previous year during the same period. And overall sales and use tax revenues are up slightly more than 7% year over year. In May of fiscal year 2021, the city experienced an anomaly in collections of sales and use taxes because of stimulus funds that were being spent by its citizens. This revenue stream in the previous year was more than 49% higher than in the fiscal year 2020. Even so, being more than 7% higher than fiscal year 2021 is an indication that the city is doing well in its collections from this revenue source in the current fiscal year. Next slide, please. Again, continued good news with the lodging tax. This revenue has an unprecedented comeback in the current fiscal year, despite the challenges of traveling, the expense of gas and hotels and food going up. People are still coming to our city, and that's something positive for us to consider. Although the growth rate for the month of May was only about half the previous month, the growth is still significant and came in nearly 27% over the previous year. Year over year, lodging tax revenue has a positive growth rate of more than 47%. However, it is projected that lodging tax revenue will remain stable due to conferences that are already scheduled to be in the city prior to the end of the year. Next slide. Gasoline tax revenue had a negative growth rate in May of nearly 4% compared to the same period last year. We were anticipating positive growth for this revenue stream for the previous month because the unofficial start of summer and that of holiday travel. However, the negative growth is attributed to the increased cost of gasoline. Citizens are buying the gas, however, they're apparently not traveling as much because of the price being more than the $4 per gallon. Year-over-year gasoline tax revenue still has a positive growth rate of more than 4%. Next slide. The alcoholic beverage tax revenue continued to reflect the decline in collections in May. This revenue stream saw a negative growth rate of more than 9% compared to the previous year. Overall, year over year, the alcoholic beverage tax revenue continues to trend downward with a negative growth rate of more than 2%. This revenue source constitutes less than 1.2% of the city's total general fund budget. The shortfall in this line item in the budget is offset by the sales and use tax revenue. Final slide. The income statement that is now on the screen is a projection of where the revenues and expenditures are expected to be by September 30th, 2022. Based on current revenue collections, it is projected that revenue in total will be approximately 2% or just above $5 million over budgeted revenue. Likewise, expenditures are expected to be slightly below break even or about $400,000 less than what was budgeted for the current year. Consequently, after a reduction of $1 million for the Internal Service Fund, I'm hopeful we'll be able to continue to increase the city's reserves by adding another $4.5 million. And with that, Mr. President, that will conclude the executive summary. Yes, sir.
Can I ask a question, Mr. Mayor?
Yep.
Where are we on the retirees bonus program? Are we going to be able to?
That's what you're doing today.
Huh? I
On the
missed
agenda
it.
today.
Where did I miss it at?
It's on the agenda.
You weren't here when first, it's on the agenda.
There we go. Thank you.
Hey, thank you for your answer, Mr. Mayor. It's on the agenda. Where is it?
Item 4 and 5.
Okay.
Mr. Mayor. One thing, I see that we have the Stop the Violence team here today.
Yes. Yes, sir.
Are we gonna be able to speak to them and bring them up, or we gonna wait?
Let's wait.
Okay.
Okay. All right, we have, Marcia, you want me to do this, or you want to do it? Go ahead. Marcia, you.
All right, thank you, Mr. President. What we're doing right now is we're gonna do a council review of the budget allocations for, we're gonna bring up different line items that we've had added on our budget to just listen to see what they've done throughout the budget year. Today we'll see the Alabama Shakespeare Festival. Todd Schmidt, are you here? Hey Todd, how you
Todd's
doing?
here.
You'll be our first presentation this evening. And then we'll have Brantwood Children's Home. Catina Pickett, are you in? All right, thank you. You'll be second. And Central Alabama Aging Consortium. Susan, are you here? All right, very good. Thank you. Todd, can you start us off with presentations, please? Thank you.
Brought along our incoming president of our board, Vanzetta McPherson, who is here to help me answer questions that may come up in this evening's presentation. Thank you for this opportunity, and thank you for the continued support of the City of Montgomery for the Alabama Shakespeare Festival. As we have entered into our 50th anniversary season, this has been an unexpected year at the theater in trying to deal with the coming back of the audience based on COVID. We've seen significant decline in our audience members at this time. Things are starting to trend a little upward. This is not just a local problem to Montgomery, but this we're seeing nationally by all of our theatrical friends and partners across the country. We entered into this with an ambitious 8-show season for this fiscal year, starting with Shoebox Roadside Family Picnic, which was set in the 1950s, performed outdoors in a new space on the grounds, and was about an African-American families traveling back south during Jim Crow days. At the holidays, we presented Cinderella, the classic Rodgers and Hammerstein musical featuring a multiracial cast, and A Christmas Carol, Charles Dickens' classic tale, told by one woman portraying a cast of many. In the new year, we have presented Macbeth, the famous Scottish play of tale of power, greed, and revenge. We presented the world premiere of Freedom Rider, a dramatic interpretation of the lives of the Freedom Riders as they traveled through the South. Little Shop of Horrors, a multiracial cast of this entertaining musical by Alan Menken and Howard Ashman. We are currently performing The Marvelous Wonderettes, which you can see through this Sunday, a fun jukebox musical featuring girl groups hits from the 1950s and 60s, and we will close out our season in August with a new premiere for the South of a new musical called American Mariachi, about a young Latinx woman who dreams about and forms an all-female mariachi band at a time when women were not allowed in mariachi bands. We've also continued our active school matinee program, School Fest, serving area schools. That includes detailed study guides relating to the current curriculums. We have our ongoing relationship with Alabama State University, where we are working to develop the next generation of African American theatrical artists. And we have developed a pilot program that will begin this fall with the Montgomery Public Schools called Fall Festival of Shakespeare. Alabama Shakespeare Festival will send teaching artists into 3 public high schools, where each school will select and produce a different Shakespeare play. Those plays will be performed at their respective schools and then all performed in the garden at Alabama Shakespeare Festival for families and the public. This exciting program is free of charge. All in all, even facing the difficulties of coming back from COVID, we believe Alabama Shakespeare Festival continues to enhance the quality of life for all citizens of Montgomery, creates a $20 million economic impact in our community and creates more than 1,000 jobs annually, contributes to the city's positive perception throughout the country, and serves as a recruiting tool, attracting executive and businesses to Montgomery. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Ms. Johnson, you got anything?
That's it. Would you have something that will break down the expenditures for the past year for us?
Yes, I can get you a
email
copy
it
of
to
the
us.
budget.
Thank you. That's it. Thank you, sir, so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
And
Wonderful
congratulations,
season.
ma'am.
Good to see
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you, Todd. Next.
Ms. Pickett?
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
My name is Catina Pickett. I'm the Development Director for Brantwood Children's Home. I want to thank each and every one of you for all of your support that we have received throughout the year. It has been an amazing journey with our counselors, city council's support throughout the pandemic. Of course, the city have had to shut down, but our doors have remained open to those children that have experienced trauma. So with your support, we have remained to steadfast. So I have with me Executive Director Gerald Jones, and he will continue.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
And thank you for the opportunity to come and talk about Brantwood, and thank you for your support. What we do, we serve children in residential care, kids in foster care that have been abused, neglected, and are dependent and need a loving, safe home. And so, and that's what the funds that the city, Montgomery, that you provide with us, that's what we are able to do. Over the past year, we've served some 56 kids in foster care. And the highlight of our year was, say, we probably just had last couple weeks ago our graduation. You know, foster care statistics say only 50% of kids in foster care should graduate high school, and about 10% of those kids going to graduate college. Well, we had about 6 kids in foster care to graduate in this year alone. You know, right now we're excited. We got kids getting ready to leave and go to University of Alabama. Got a young man got orientation next month. Got one going to Jacksonville State University. Got one to be attending Trinity. These are just the kids that graduated in this year's class, and so, and got one that'll be attending Alabama State. But even with in our sophomore year, we have one that's actually at UA that's very excited, that still comes by. She's right from the west side of Montgomery. This is a young lady that came to us when she was at Bellingraph in the 8th grade, was with us through the high school years, finished Lee High School at Salutatorium, and right now is working as an athletic trainer at the University of Alabama, doing well on the dean's list. And so that's just one of our success stories. But overall, we're working with kids that have experienced trauma, and what we do day to day and year to year, we try to help those kids overcome that trauma, and so they can be successful and be productive citizens of Montgomery. So we do appreciate the support that you give. We've requested $50,000. We've served about 56 kids this year. That's less than $1,000 per kid through the year, just quick math. And so, but we appreciate that support that you do give. We're a private nonprofit. We're not a state organization. Sometimes that misconception is there. We get contract dollars through the state. We have to go out and raise about another $365,000 to meet budget. And so that's why we're here today. So again, we appreciate any consideration and support that you give. Thank you.
Very good, John.
Thank you.
Any questions?
Thank y'all for being here. Appreciate it. Thanks for the good work you do.
Thank you.
Ms. Susan Segrest.
Good evening. Thank you so much for the opportunity to talk with you. Central Alabama Aging is the area agency on aging for Autauga, Elmore, and Montgomery counties. We were formed back in 1975 by the local governments, including the then mayor of Montgomery, Jim Robinson. And our board of directors is comprised of a member of the 3 county commissions and the mayors of the cities and towns that we serve or their designees. The current member of our board from the city of Montgomery is Mr. Chip Hill. And so we receive federal, state, and local funding. The Older Americans Act requires that our administrative dollars have a 25% non-federal match. And for our services, they require a 10% non-federal match. So in the city of Montgomery, we have 5 elderly nutrition sites where we serve hot meals every day to individuals that are 60 and older. We also give them some operating money. So for this year, the operating funds are total $79,000. From October 1 through April 30th of this fiscal year, we have served 19,809 meals to 208 unduplicated individuals in the city of Montgomery. From the senior centers and the pickup center, which is McCoa, we've served 31,393 hot meals to 293 unduplicated clients. And then we also have a frozen door-to-door program for the homebound where there are not meal routes to provide meals for them. And so we have served 28,554 meals to 214 unduplicated clients. And on the frozen meal program, they are delivered once a week and they get 5 meals each with each delivery. So we also administer the waiver program, the Elderly and Disabled Waiver Program for the Alabama Medicaid Agency for our counties. We currently have 566 clients on that program. And for this time frame that we're looking at, 525 clients were from the city of Montgomery. Now, remember that some of those clients have come off and new clients have come on during that time frame. But this program allows individuals to stay in the community with services, and we provide homemaker, personal care, companions, skilled and unskilled respite, meals, so that these individuals can remain in the community rather than having to go to an institution. We also have several other programs. We have a couple of dementia programs that we administer. One of those we administer statewide. We also have a Medicare counseling program, a Medicare fraud prevention program. We do an elder abuse prevention program. So we have lots of services that we provide. Even though we are the area agency on aging, because several of our programs now serve the disabled as well as the elderly, our youngest client is 10 months old and our oldest client is 102. So we're asking for $40,096, which is determined by a formula that's in our bylaws that was created by the individuals who started the agency. And that is because when we look at our Older Americans Act funding that requires the match, we're looking at $136,300 in match that we anticipate being needed for next year. And we know that the city of Montgomery receives 60% of the services that we provide. And so if you look at 60% of that, for the administrative dollars, the match would be $10,938, and the services match would be $55,530. So we aren't asking even for the full match, because we do have some donations and that type of thing that come in to pay some of that match. So we do just ask that you would give us the full allocation so that we can continue to provide these services to some of our most vulnerable citizens. Thank you so much.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much
Thank
for
you.
what you
Thank you
do.
for what you
Thank
do.
you. I do have one thing. Is Amazing Grace still here? Is she gone?
She left.
She's gone.
Who?
Okay. Amazing Grace, the woman that was providing
Yeah, she's
the
gone.
services
She's
to the
gone.
seniors.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
Thank you, Mr. President, and thank you all for your presentations.
Yes,
Mr. President,
Mitchell?
I want to recognize a team today to stop the violence. If you can please come up, to stop the violence have been in Montgomery for the last year. I think we have been with them throughout. We have been in every neighborhood, every community, and I just want them to be recognized. The mayor and this administration started this initiative, and I just want you guys to come up and be recognized and say who you are and what you're doing. Say who you are.
Introduce yourself.
Jeff Jones. Roosevelt Williams. Orlando Ball.
Go ahead and say this, young brother.
Keith Moore. Eddie Compton.
Roll Tires, and we're missing Pastor Nettles and Nick Rankins.
Can you kind of tell us what you guys been doing and what is your next event and how can we help you as the city of Montgomery?
Well, thank you so much for allowing us this moment. Thank you to our mayor and to the council. What we've been doing, Councilor, is bringing an awareness to our community, making sure that we keep our individualized areas and communities within our city aware of the need to deal with it as a community, this violence issue. So the violence awareness walks have been very, very productive. We've also been able to connect people to services, because we believe that the human condition affects violence in our cities and all of our cities across the nation. So as we're out and bringing awareness, we're also connecting people to services. There's been great uplift and building up in our community through individual actions of all these team members. I say I'm the baby of the team because I'm the newest one on the team. But I tell you, my life has been changed by working with these guys. I want to thank Ms. Rotias. She's the brainchild and the leader of the group. And so I want to thank her for just assembling a great cadre of guys to do this work. Each of these guys have individually been working on social issues, serving our community, cleaning up the city, voter rights, violence awareness. So there's many, this is a team of teams. They've been working very, very hard. So we certainly thank the council, thank the mayor for this opportunity. Again, thank Ms. Rotias for her leadership, and we're going to stay the course.
One other question, if somebody wanted to join, how can they help you? How can they get in contact with you guys if they want to be a part of the team?
They can reach out to Ms. Tias in our office at 625-3423. And Ms. Tias will be able to connect us as we do our walks. And so we're Man, we've been in so many communities, so we certainly want to bring that awareness. If they want to join the team, they can email us at violenceprevention at montgomeryal.gov or reach out directly to Ms. Tyus. You got something you want to say? I'm sorry.
I left out Jay Mays, he's part of this team, and also MPD, Major Hall, Major Harris, Chief D, Major Rucker, and whole MPD. They have been coming out, helping us, and we appreciate you guys. So y'all part of the team, come on.
Okay.
Mayor, Ms. Tyus.
Mayor.
Ms. Tyus, can you tell them what else you do other than some of the,
Right.
can you tell them, the community, what else you all do other than some of the prayer walks? I know there are other activities that this team does. If you can kind of share that with the community.
We also provide resources, as Keith Moore stated. We feed people, we do voters registration, we do whatever. I mean, we really out there engaging with the guys that need to be engaged with. Our team is not scared. We risk our life out there. Every month, we're out there trying to help someone with something. So our team do a lot. I mean, it's just a lot.
Mayor, can we get a picture with them as well?
Get a picture.
I want to thank you.
Come on.
All right, Madam Clerk, first item.
Mr. President, item 1, resolution to allocate American Rescue Plan Act funds under the Montgomery Thrive Initiative.
Mr. Callahan,
Mr. President, move to adopt and substitute.
have a motion to adopt, and now we got a substitute. Voting on the substitute. This is old business, so we're all in motion to adopt the substitute. Okay.
She don't have a question
Shut up.
today.
Okay. I need a motion. All in favor, raise your hand.
Mr. President, move to adopt.
The motion now is to substitute.
Motion to
That's on
substitute.
Now, motion to adopt.
Unanimous?
Now motion to adopt.
Yes.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous.
Okay.
Resolution
Done.
is adopted.
Thank you.
All right.
Item 2, appeal of demolition cost of an unsafe structure at 4062 Oak Street by Bob Fine.
I don't see Bob Fine signing up in here tonight. Is he here? Bob Fine? He didn't sign up. All right, item number 3.
Brandon, do you need them to deny the appeal? They
Move to deny. Is that what I need to do?
deny.
Have a motion to deny. All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous. Appeal is denied. Item 3, ordinance granting permission to AT&T Corporation to lay, maintain, and operate transmission cable in the city's right-of-way.
Need a motion to suspend the rules.
Mr. President, move to suspend the rules.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous.
Move to adopt.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous. Ordinance is adopted. Item 4, resolution agreeing to provide funding to employees' retirement system to cover cost of one-time lump sum payment of $2 for each month of service to pensioners and beneficiaries.
Need a resolution? Need a
Mr. President,
motion to
move to
suspend
suspend
the
the
rules.
rules.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous.
Move to adopt.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous. Resolution is adopted. Resolution agreeing to provide funding to ERS to cover cost of one-time lump sum payment of $2 for each month of service for retirees and beneficiaries.
Mr. President, move to suspend the rules.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous.
Move to adopt.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous. Resolution is adopted. Item 6, show cause hearing on the proposed resolution finalizing the revocation of the business license of Can a brother get a slice at 1935 Mulberry Street?
Let's be carried over.
We've got to have the show cause hearing. You've got to.
Okay, the motion's been moved.
Well, no, the resolution you'll carry over, but you've got to have a hearing.
Okay, all right. The motion's been moved.
Motion to
You
suspend the
don't,
rules.
on number 6, you just call for whoever wants to speak for number 6 or against it.
Sorry, I didn't hear that.
Is Cedric here?
Say, if anybody wants to speak for it, call for it.
Yeah, okay. This is a public hearing. Anyone like to speak against this item, please come forward. Seeing none, declare public hearing's been held, it's proper for the council. Need a motion?
Motion to suspend the rules.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous?
Motion to carry over.
I think they just wanted you to carry it over. You can do that
Yeah,
without a motion.
let's carry it over.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Number 8 and 9.
Number 8 is a show cause hearing on the proposed resolution finalizing the revocation of the business license of Bayou Turkey at Food Truck Mobile.
Now, we haven't heard anything from him, right? I don't have anything on my ear from him. So we need a motion to suspend the rules.
We need to do the public hearing on this
Public
one.
hearing. This is
Yes.
a public hearing. Anyone like to speak against this item, please come forward. Item number 8. Seeing none, declare the public hearing's been held, it's proper for the council. Need a motion?
Motion to suspend the rules.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous?
Motion to deny.
Motion to
Motion to adopt.
adopt. All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous, resolution is adopted. Item 10, application for retail beer and retail table wine owner off premises doing business as Chuck E. Cheese's at 1116 Eastdale Mall.
Representative Chuck E. Cheese here. Chuck E. Cheese. I'll have a public hearing at this point, but he's not here, we'll have to carry it over. This is a public hearing, and I want to speak against this item, please come forward. Seeing none, declare the public hearing's been held, it's proper for the council, and we'll carry this over.
Item 11, resolution assessing the cost of abatement of unsafe structures on various lots.
Okay, I have 2 people signed up to talk about this, doctor and, I'm sorry, I can't read the name, but Dr. Koch, and then Dear Brothers. Yes, sir, come forward, please. I can't hear you. Please get the microphone, please.
May it please this Honorable City Council, Honorable Mayor, Keith Osborne, A-U-S-B-O-R-N, and the property address
I got
is...
you. You're the one that signed. I can see that now.
Yes, sir. Again, may it please this city, Honorable City Council, Honorable Mayor, yes, law enforcement. I practiced law in the state of Alabama for 17, 18 years. I clerked up under the Honorable Circuit Judge Charles Price. The property that was torn down at 1517 West Street was in the legal namesake of myself and my spouse, Bridget Osborne. There are serious violations of the law in terms of how that was done. I'll put you on notice that the statute by which they rely upon requires a minimum of 10 days notice to the respondent, which would be myself. I docketed an appeal 2 separate times off of the city's filing, noticing to demolish my property. The initial filing was done on September the 22nd. They amended that filing I do believe, on October the 22nd, I believe. And I filed a timely appeal off of both of them. And I demanded strict proof of all averments that were alleged by the city. And I demanded a formal hearing to come before the city council. I will go on record as stating that vandals broke into my property subsequent to the city tagging my property and stripped it raw. over a period of time. I realized that they took pictures of that property. They said that the property was weathered as a result of a leak in the ceiling. I put them on notice by way of my filing that I was in the process of mitigating my damages by putting another property that I had up for sale, up for distress sale. And incident to that, I was exploring with several wholesalers about the possibility of buying.
So what is your request, sir?
What's that again?
What is your request?
My address?
Your request of us?
Well, one, there's no question that any move by the city to tax me with costs of $3,900 has to be denied. Up under the law.
The city spent that much to tear your house down.
Excuse me?
The city spent $3,900.
They spent $3,900 and they violated my rights up under Alabama state law because they failed to give me timely notice.
You got a court case here, is that correct?
He's filed a notice of claim.
Okay, and he filed a claim with the city?
He did.
Okay. And the claim was?
He is asked to be reimbursed for the value of his
Was that
property.
denied or?
We have not ruled on it yet. We've just
all
gotten
right. So the city will rule on that, and then at that point, you'll have further legal action either way.
Oh,
correct.
Okay. Honorable Jim Wright, as I mentioned to you, any move by the city whatsoever to tax any cost to me has to be procedurally and substantively denied because they failed to give me timely notice. Right. All of my rights to litigation, state and federal, are reserved. And I can give you the exact statutes up under state and federal law to where they're going to be paying out some major money by way of civil liability here. Okay. And not only that, but here it is that there's criminal culpability also. There's criminal culpability. I'm going to give them an opportunity to try to reverse out their position.
Let's say they work that out for you. They understand the law. We're not lawyers.
Yes, sir.
We're city council, elected officials. The lawyers will work this out because you're a lawyer. You're talking legal. I don't understand. Our lawyers do, and let them handle it, okay?
Well, Honorable Jim Wright, I contacted the city attorney, and I documented that and spoke with the executive assistant for the city attorney and put her on notice that there was a serious problem and requested that she expedite contacting me back. She never did that. I contacted Honorable Blaylock on several occasions and put him on notice that going forth would put him in dire straits. And he told me he wasn't a lawyer and wasn't anything he was going to do about it. This law is clear on its face. And any move by the city whatsoever to tax 1 penny, a nickel, a dime, a quarter, a dollar to me is not going to happen up on Alabama law because the law is clear. They were required to give me 10 days notice. They didn't do that. There was never a court order, notice issued by the city clerk's office putting me on notice of any hearing that was scheduled before this tribunal. And then once the alleged order was issued on January the 18th, they never served me with it. It's not going to be part of the city minutes that they issued a court order and served me anything.
Okay.
Now, I'm not going to dummy down before this tribunal anytime. I practice law 17, 18 years. I'm 90% effective
I understand
on everything I touch.
I'm not a lawyer. As I said, I'm not a lawyer. We're not lawyers.
Yes, sir.
We don't understand the legal situation. Our lawyers do, and you'll deal with our legal department, okay?
Is the city attorney here, by the way?
She's right there.
Who? Do you
Ms. Bellinger, she's the attorney.
Get in touch with you?
Okay.
I've got your claim and I've got the inspections file.
It'll be-
Once I go through it, I'll be in touch.
When can you and I talk to try to get this resolved?
I've got the claim and I've got the inspections file. Once I review them, I'll be in communication.
What's that again now?
I've got the claim and I've got the file from the inspections department. Once I review them, I'll be in touch.
You'll be in touch with me?
We look forward to a call from her as soon as possible.
We'll need another hearing before the tribunal.
Okay. We got you.
Okay.
You're here for it. Thank you so much.
And one last thing. I would like to have the city inspectors here, and I want the demolition expert here also.
Well-
Because I got a heavy federal litigation for multiple millions of dollars, and I guarantee you.
Sir, if you're talking about a lawsuit against the city, our conversation's
Let
over.
them know.
Okay?
This-
Our
this-
conversation's over.
Choose real wisely.
Conversation's over, sir.
Okay,
You
choose
talking
real
about lawsuit.
wisely going forward.
Okay. Next, how about Mr. Dubose?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, Mr. President, and the council. My name is Dean Dubose. First and foremost, I'd like to say that I did receive notification in reference to the building being torn down. At that point in time, I met with I think it was with Hodges down at the adjacent building. He informed me of what I needed to do. After that, I contacted my councilwoman, and I informed her, along with someone else, via telephone, about the circumstances surrounding the building and the intent for that building. My next notification was an impromptu telephone call from an individual stating me that the building was torn down. When I got over there, I noticed that it was flat. All of the contents basically consisted of about $27,000 worth of furniture for veterans, refrigerators, sofas, night tables. In addition to that, nightstands. I had antique lamps, antique rugs, and all of that for those veterans. So I'm requesting that the council consider the losses of the house itself and all of the content, and waive that cost of $3,700 for the demolition.
Council, y'all see any issue here? Does that sound like me got a bigger issue than this?
I spoke with Mr. Dubose. I do recall that. I spoke with Mr. Dubose, and I spoke with Mr. Hodge as well. And the house was an unsafe structure, according to the City of Montgomery statute. And so when I spoke with Mr. Dubose, my question to him, I recall asking how long had he had the property. I thought maybe it was something he had recently acquired and needed some time. He explained to me he was working on a property across the street. Remember us having that conversation?
Yes, ma'am.
And what I remember is that you told me you had that property about 10 years. Is that right?
Exactly.
Right. I think at that point, I left it with the inspectors, whatever the procedure was. Not that 10 years is enough time, but that surely is ample amount of time to, little by little work on a piece of property. And so I did not intervene any further in that matter. So I did have a conversation with you, but there was nothing that I felt like that I could do to stop the due process in it. So at that time, whatever happened, it went through the due process, and I think Mr. Hodges and that department did whatever it is. I'm quite sure they got some documentation of where they notified you properly or sent notice out. I don't think they just tore it down, and, may have, but I'm quite sure they can bring whatever if they need to so that we could see that and make sure we didn't violate any of your rights on that. I'm quite sure we didn't do that. I didn't realize, I don't know if he knew that there was value in the property, but I think the back of the property was exposed. Is that right?
Yeah, it was partially collapsed in the rear.
Yeah.
And I've got some photos if Mike will put them up.
Yeah, put them up, Mike. Let's look.
On our screen as well. Mike gonna put them on now. He gonna put them on now. Yeah, you're gonna have to.
It should be labeled as 617 West Red Gray.
Is this the property?
Yes, you're exactly right. That is the property. Now, that piece of property, you're right, I purchased that property about 11 years ago. And as you stated, I wish you would show the house across the street, because the house across the street is the one that I've been working on. Now, that is taken from the inside. You cannot see that from outside of that building. What he did was went inside the back door, and there was a limb that fell on the roof. A limb that fell on the roof and knocked the hole in the roof. So that's the interior of the building. The purpose, right, was to go inside and remove everything and redo the building. The outside of the building looked exceptionally well. The concrete, everything, no foundational work, nothing as far as on the outside of that building when it comes to the structure.
A lot cleaner now.
So that building,
Sir,
that picture.
if you cared about it, you would have moved the stuff out of it, and you would take care of it. You didn't care. Sorry.
That's about the furniture.
Excuse me, sir.
Mr.
Excuse me.
Dubose, where was the furniture in those pictures?
Okay, I want to show you, it doesn't show, that building is a two-part building. One half of it is considered commercial, and the other half, right, was the house. So the commercial part of it was still intact, which used to be a barber shop, which is adjacent and attached to the building. Now, he doesn't show that on anything, but it's right there in the front. You have an apex right that connects
Go
the
back
two
to
buildings.
that first picture for me, Mike.
Right there, to the left of the building.
That little brick.
Yes,
portion
yes,
on the
ma'am.
side.
That building right there is the building that contained all of the furniture, right, was for that building. That one to the left. There was nothing wrong with it, had a lock on the door and everything. And the front of it, as you can see, the aesthetics from the front, it does look like it's riding. In fact, we had a crew that was supposed to be out there right the next week to make sure that they start on that building right there. So,
You owned this thing for 10 years?
I beg your pardon?
You owned it for 10 years, right?
Yeah, the building hadn't always looked like that, Your Honor. The building hadn't always looked like that. It basically took a state to look like that, basically, I would say within the last year and a half or so. At that point in time, we've been working on the building across the street to get that building ready for veterans, which I would say is the best looking building in the neighborhood, the one across the street.
Okay. All right. Anybody got
So
any
again, I'm asking for you to defray the cost, right? I'm not fussing about the building. I'm not crying over spilled milk. What I'm saying is, considering the loss that we have incurred, the building itself, all of the contents inside, that you defray or waiver the cost that you're going to charge me for demo.
Okay, sorry. No, sir. Okay, next item.
You've got to vote on this one. You need to suspend the
Okay,
rules.
need a
on
motion
that.
to suspend the rules on 12, on 11.
On number 11.
Mr. President, move to suspend the rules.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous?
Move to adopt.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous. Resolution is adopted. Item 12, pursuant to Section 1153B1 Code of Alabama, authorization of demolition of
Need a motion to
unsafe
uphold.
structures at the listed locations.
Need a motion to uphold.
Mr. President, move to uphold.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous. Item
13.
Item 13, resolution declaring, authorizing, and assessing cost of abatement of public
The
nuisance.
Zieglers are here to talk about this. Please come forward.
What's the name?
Zieglers, his last name is Ziegler. Travis and.
How y'all doing?
Hey,
I got a few cars in my yard. I go to car shows and fix cars up and all that stuff or whatever. I had been having problems with a city inspector coming out to my house, looking over into my backyard, into the privacy fence, and he is determined what's a junk car, which is not a junk car. And I had called the guy Brandon and left a voicemail with him, and he got back with me probably like, it was last week sometime he got back with me. And he dismissed everything, but he said everything would be fine, but I still wanted to come down here to complain about the guy, Mike, the one that keeps coming to my house, saying it. Not only that, he comes there, he don't ring a doorbell or anything, he just come there and stand up and look over into my backyard and see what's back there. And my wife was going outside, and she don't know who he is or what he looked like. He scared her when she walked outside, and she come running back in the house to tell me that somebody is over the gate looking over into the backyard. And when I got to the door, it was him.
All right. We'll.
Are the Zieglers on
Tate.
this?
They're on
I spoke with Brandon last year, it was during the pandemic, and he said that he would take care of it, but it came back again this year, the same problem.
Well, you probably got a neighbor complaining.
This neighborhood is not complaining.
Are there any 311 complaints on it, Mr. Kippen?
I'd have to go back and check the record. I was just made aware of this shortly. I mean, within the time we've had this meeting. Based on what he's describing, that's not something we condone. I'll say that right off the bat. Peeping over people's fences and all this sort of thing.
We got enough without that.
We terrified the young lady. If that in fact happened, I'll deal with that. I'll speak to the inspector to make sure our process is clearly understood. But the good news is, whatever the nuisance was, they have abated the nuisance, and so that's not an issue for us. But again, the process by which he's describing, I'm not gonna say he's lying or whatever, but we'll look into it. And if for some reason we find that we have to adjust our measures, we just don't look over people's fences and walk over people's houses and stuff like that. So that would be addressed first thing in the morning.
Okay, very good.
Mr. Ziegler.
Thank you.
Mr. Ziegler. Mr. Ziegler, what neighborhood were you in?
We live off of West Fair Road, 4564.
Where's Fair Road? Okay. All right, thank you.
Okay.
All right, next up, need a motion on 13.
Mr. President, move to suspend the rules.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous.
Move to adopt.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous. Resolution is adopted.
All right, now you got one other thing, Mr. Calhoun?
Yeah, Mr. President, I'd like to introduce an ordinance to establish procedure regulating the operation of shared mobility devices provided within the city of Montgomery. And I'll just introduce it into
Carry it over.
carry it over to you.
Whole business next
I
time.
think Robert was walking up. See,
Robert, if you can come on up and talk to us about it, why we need it and what we want to do with it.
What we doing?
Mr. Smith.
Yes, sir. Good afternoon, Council, Mayor. Good to be here. The ordinance that you have before you is basically an ordinance to establish procedures regulating the operations of what we're going to call shared motorized mobility device providers within the city of Montgomery. This ordinance is similar to the one that the council and the mayor approved for companies to provide shared non-motorized devices, also known as bike share, which is what we have right now. As you've heard, as of the last meeting, there have been about 1,100 people that have used the bike share program since it's been in existence, which is a good number, especially the short time that it's been in existence. So this is probably the perfect time to drive to drive or ride any form of transportation other than a motorized vehicle based on the price of gas as it is right now. Something small enough or cheap enough to burn other than fossil fuels. So the time is perfect, and so we're introducing this to go along with the other piece that we have. I'll just kind of go through briefly, generally, for each section so you understand it, because I know it's new to you, and we did not have it on the agenda, didn't get it on the agenda in time. So Section 1, as the proposed ordinance before you says, that the purpose and intent is to increase the access to the and options for transportation alternatives. The public health, safety, and welfare will be enhanced by the implementation of a shared motorized device program, both in the public right-of-way and public property of the city of Montgomery. Section 2 enclosed our set of definitions of what all this means, from shared motorized mobility device program to shared motorized mobility device provider, what a customer is, what a license means, and what a permit is. Section 3, next there's a license and permit process for the shared mobility device system to gain approval from the city, similar to the bike share. Section 4, there are guidelines from which the motorized mobility device operators are to operate within the city, and this covers everything from necessary safety and related data requirements such as ridership, how many people use the service for tracking of those numbers, the ability to lock the device when not in use, identity of the provider of the service and contact info, inspection and maintenance equipment, and many other items related to the safety where they are to be rode or ridden. Parking and violation of rules can result in being ticketed, insurance requirements, holding the city harmless from any liability. Section 5 covers in detail parking for motorized mobility devices. Parking of motorized mobility devices are required to are required to have designated parking spaces or areas. This can be designated parking via parking spaces, places marked specifically for scooters or other motorized shared mobility devices. They must be upright at all times. If you notice in some of the larger cities like Birmingham, Atlanta, Charlotte, they have these actual, I'm sorry, say again?
I saw them in Mobile this weekend. So
Yeah, you see they aren't as organized as they should be. People, they just bring them and they lay them out, they park them just about anywhere. So it's not quite organized. So we want to make sure that ours is a lot more organized and a lot better managed than what some of these other cities are having. So we don't want them to be just left unattended. Section 6 covers more detailed safety-related information. Section 7 covers more of the parking designation, more related to safety requirements and consistency with city plans such as the downtown plan, the comprehensive plan, and the bicycle and pedestrian plan. Section 8 covers motorized mobility providers, their responsibility for the condition of the public property that they'll be using. And Section 9 covers the maintenance of the parking spaces to make sure that they're clean at all times. And Section 10 covers if they fail to comply with the city requirements, the city reserves the right to terminate their permit and require the entire fleet to be removed at will. And that's generally it in a nutshell. And after you approve this, then the city will become open to those actual providers to actually apply for a permit and a license to operate in the city of Montgomery.
Thank you, Mr. Smith, for that explanation.
Mr. Pro Tem, I know we carried this over. I want to see, can we bring this back up?
Yes.
Like to suspend the rules?
Well, what kind of, I got one question. I don't think I have a problem with the thing. What kind of vehicles are we talking about? Explain to me
Yes,
exactly.
sir. So largely scooters, which are motorized, they're electric, could be scooters or bicycles. Those are the
Segways, stuff like that?
could be Segways, yes,
Okay.
sir.
All right,
And
let's
these are to be provided by companies that
Yeah, I got you.
that operate
We're good.
in mass.
We're good. Bring it
So
up.
you're making a motion to reconsider?
Reconsider.
Okay, we
got
need a
five.
vote.
Well, Glenn after that.
We don't need
Unanimous? Now we need a motion to suspend the rules.
Motion to suspend the rules?
Unanimous?
Motion to adopt?
All in favor, please raise your hand.
Unanimous. Resolution is adopted. Ordinance
Thank
is
you.
adopted.
Right.
Mr. Pro Tem, I do have some contingencies.
Okay.
I have, Councilor Graham had to leave, but she wants to allocate $500 to Amazing Grace Ministries and $500 to Chaplain Browder Ministries on behalf of the Abner House. And those both are 501c3s that are vendors.
Miss,
Okay.
I've got two. One to Amazing Grace, $500. $500 to East Montgomery baseball, boys baseball.
Ms. Brenda, I would like to add $1,000 to Brantwood Children's Home.
Brantwood, okay.
That's all.
That's it, okay.
Ms. Brenda, I'm sorry,
Go ahead,
Pro
go ahead.
Tem. I want to do 500 to Amazing Grace Health Ministries, and I'd like to do 1,500 to the Abner House.
You'll have to give it, they're not a vendor.
They're not a
That's
vendor.
why she gave it to Chaplain Browder's Ministries.
I'll do it through
That way. Okay.
Ms. Blaylock, I'd like to add 1,000 for youth in action.
Okay. Mr. Mayor, you okay with those?
Need a motion for approval?
Motion to approve.
All in favor, please raise your hand.
Unanimous?
Mr. Pro Tem, while we are here, I know we're getting ready to wrap up, but Mr. Mayor, I had a question. While we were talking about the parking, I thought about enhancing our electric charging stations. Has there been any consideration for doing it downtown and throughout the city?
Absolutely, and not just downtown. We want to make sure that underserved areas also have an opportunity. So we've been in discussion for at least 3 months with some vendors who are interested in bringing more EV charging stations to the city. And one of the things that we want to, promote to them is that not just in affluent areas where we're concerned about this. We want to make sure that there are opportunities for people to charge and use electric vehicles all around the community. And that's one of the issues we have yet to get clarity on so far. So once we get a little bit more on that, then we'll be able to move forward.
That's good. Thank you.
All right. Madam Clerk, on our non-agenda, public communication roster, non-agenda